Hey everyone, sorry for the general lack of uploads, but here I am. Right next to me is the LG 39GS95QE. Kind of crazy I got that in one take, just for the record. But sitting right next to me, it's a 3440 by 1440, 240 hertz W OLED panel with an 800R curve. So it's a very aggressive curve, and you're either gonna like it or not gonna like it. Personally speaking, the 39 inches that this monitor offers at this curve, glorious. It's incredibly immersive for especially for gaming or like content viewing. But a drawback, right, is at 3440 by 1440 at this size, the text clarity is kind of abysmal, borderline unbearable. It's already bad on the QD OLED panel, the Alienware that I've had for a while now and considering replacing with this. Um, but yeah, just at 39 inches, it's just not great, and that's kind of the biggest drawback of this monitor. Um, in short, essentially, if you only do gaming or content viewing with very minimal text reading, um, then yeah, this is the way to go over the Alienware. Gaming on this thing is incredibly immersive. It basically fills my entire field of view, and since it's larger, targets are easier to identify. Um, anyway, I just love this monitor. I'll put up some B-roll comparing the two if I can try. Um, so let's go over the differences between WOLED and QD OLED. The main differences are that WOLED is matte versus QD OLED is glossy. And I will say that the matte coating on this is definitively better than the QD OLED's glossy coating. So that ends that debate for me, at least in my opinion. Some people swear by glossy coatings, but no, this is genuinely 1,000 times better. I have three big lights pointing at the basically directly at the monitor here, and there's hardly any color differentiation in terms of the black levels. There might be some in this corner up here, but that could be just the general low qualityness of the camera, or the lighting in general. But yeah, matte coating 100% all the way. Um, WOLED has a traditional subpixel layout with an additional white subpixel, so there's 4 subpixels, and they're all in a rectangle. Versus again, QD OLED has the triangle where I think green is on the top, maybe red. I can't remember. Um, in theory, the traditional subpixel layout should help with text clarity, but you know, it's an unfair comparison since this is a much larger display at the same resolution. So it's unfair comparison. The QD OLED panel on the Alienware has like significantly better colors. They're not as punchy on this panel. You can up the digital vibrance in your control panel settings. So I did it through the NVIDIA control panel, obviously, which they're phasing out finally after what is it, 10 years? Crazy. Um, but yeah, I did that, and the colors still aren't as punchy, but they're fine. Another difference between the Alienware and this is the Alienware has a peak brightness of 1,000 nits in HDR 1000 mode. This is only certified for HDR 400, so this sits at around 5 to 600 nits brightness, which is half the Alienware's. It's still bright, and fine, better than any other LCD you'll find on the market, but it's definitely not as good as the Alienware's brightness. But again, when the lights are off, the Alienware wins, but when the lights are on, the LG wins. Another difference is that the Alienware is 165 hertz, where this is 240 hertz. My 4090 can't hit 240 hertz at this resolution, or sorry, 240 FPS. Not even near that in Warzone, which is what I mostly play. So kind of an irrelevant spec for me, but I guess it is a plus if you do like more competitive games like CS, for example, that are able and you're able to hit those frame rates. Yeah, so 240 hertz is a plus that this monitor includes it, but not necessarily a deal breaker that the Alienware doesn't. I would say the white point on this monitor and most LG monitors in my experience is a little bit too blue. So this would be a good time to talk about some of the settings I dialed in the OSD. There are 3 settings. One of them is the white point that I just mentioned. I turned it to the next warmest setting. The other is the peak brightness setting. That was on the middle options. I turned that up to high. That increases the HDR brightness in games and doesn't throttle the brightness when the window size is too big. So keep that on the highest setting. And the third setting is a setting actually which the Alienware has built in. It's an OLED protection setting that shifts the display a few pixels left, right, up, or down every now and then just to prevent burn-in. The LG, in my experience, didn't have it turned on by default. I did buy this open box, so maybe that just, wasn't. I did factory reset it, but I might be mixing things up here. But yeah, go turn on the OLED pixel shift. I turned that to just mode 1. I don't really know what the difference between modes is, but as long as it's on, it should be good enough. Another tidbit of information is that this monitor doesn't have the power supply built in. So you can see it over here sitting on my desk. It's a big ass brick that sits outside the monitor. That has some benefits and some downsides. One of the benefits is that with the Alienware, you just plug it in. It takes any 3-prong power plug, plugs right in. Whereas this, you need the barrel jack. This plugs into the wall, and then the other side is a barrel jack that plugs into the monitor. Just a little thing I would mention. But since the power supply is outside the monitor, that negates the need for an active fan. If this does have an active fan, it's totally silent. And also, the monitor itself is like significantly lighter than I expected. I'm pretty sure the entire box, like the monitor, stand, and accessories, was still lighter than just the Alienware QD OLED monitor. But that's not really a deal breaker for anyone, I'm sure, but just something I had noticed and thought I'd mention. Essentially, in conclusion, if you mainly do gaming / media consumption, I would say get this one over the Alienware. Gaming is so much more immersive, but on the downside, like text is borderline unbearably bad. If you do any production kind of work where you're reading text documents, I would say go for the Alienware. I'll mention again, I talked about this in my Alienware video, but I'll mention it again here. End game monitor, right? 40, maybe 45 inches. 4K ultra wide. I would say an 800R curve. I'm obsessed with this curve now that I've used this for a long time. Definitely a matte panel. Cannot be glossy. And 240 hertz would be plus, but not necessary. As long as it's above 144, I'm good with that. That would be my end game monitor for sure. I don't know if this was an official document or it was leaked, but LG's roadmap suggests that their version of that monitor will come out in 1 year, so end of 2025, which kind of sucks. I wish it was sooner. But CES is coming up in a couple weeks actually, so hopefully we hear more about it or even see, display unit or something there. That would be cool. But yeah, again, in short, if you do mostly gaming and want to be immersed in that stuff, definitely go for this one. It's so fun to be able to be immersed in the game. The way that this size and this curve and the black levels and the brightness all kind of mesh together to form this incredible experience. But if you want better colors, and general better text clarity, it's still not the best, right? But better text clarity, go for the Alienware. I found these for about the same price, or they're going for about the same price now. I bought this one open box, so I figured, hey, might as well give it a try. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did. I apologize for not getting on my personal build any earlier. I've had some problems with it. I've rebuilt it about 7 times. Still trying to figure out what I got to do about it. I finally have the last few parts I need to put it back together, and I will make a video about it. I just don't know when. I just need to find the time to rebuild it, figure out what I'm doing. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.